Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm John, this is Many a True Nerd, and welcome to the epilogue of Rome Total War, the end of all things, how it all shook out. Let's figure out what happened to all our favourites, and all our old enemies as well. After a noble life, Spartacus the Good died in Ancyra, but in his retirement he took an interest in architecture, and became known as Spartacus the Builder. The Numidians abandoned the siege of Dimity without even being challenged, not even a single sally battle. They ultimately decided they had no interest in taking on our assassins, or Moralis Brutus. The people of Nept invented a dance move that was so sexy that Julianus Victor had no choice but to ban it. Julianus Scapula is still terrible. Pyrrhicides died in Palmyra. When Julianus Victor was informed, he responded, "Who?" Chickpea had a son called Herius. Nobody really cared because he wasn't particularly good. The Julii were ultimately defeated primarily by their own incompetence. They threw everything they had at trying to retake Carthaginoa, and in the meantime, both of their remaining cities were put under attack. History is especially complimentary to Tiberius Maecenas, who swept in by sea and took Cordoba when the Julii had no idea it was remotely under threat. The final battle was against Oppius Julius, on his own, with no support whatsoever. History does not record what Quintus the Brave was doing at the moment the Julii died. No one ever checked what was going on in the north of Spain, but we all just kind of assumed that Spain were alive and well up there. Several decades after we assumed they would, the Armenians finally got round to attacking us. The counterattack was arranged by Placcus Cyrus, who previously had been training in Sidon. Taking inspiration from his hero Julianus Victor, he also fielded elephants. The force was scruffy, but the result inevitable. As time went on, Spurius the Ugly became uglier and slightly more mad too, but he remained extremely good at guarding bridges. Former Julian faction leader Quintus the Brave would actually go on to join the Brutii in time. He was, no one would deny, an extremely competent leader, a national hero, a lover of beauty, though oddly he was not brave, which was mildly confusing for everyone involved. Spurius the Ugly had another son, Aulus the Ugly. He was broadly equally ugly. However, he had less interest in bridges than his father or brothers, and thus went to Thessalonica to learn how to manage mining operations. The one remaining Numidian city was quickly put into siege by Moralis Brutus. No one ever found out why they thought it would be a good idea to attack the Brutii. There was admittedly one pretty damn cool battle during the Armenian War when 3,000 Armenians took on Placcus Cyrus and his slightly scruffy army, and they had lots of flipping cataphracts, so we'll see that one at least. Right, big old flat space, nice big rock that might be useful. Yeah, actually, that rock could be the rock that saves us, nice. See, what we've got here is if I just put one auxilia here to guard the flank, and then everything else kind of gather it around the rock, all I need to do is I need to just kind of cluster them together, and between the dogs and the elephants, I've actually got a pretty decent little kind of line here. So this will do, yeah, you know what? Bring you forward, nice and long and thin there. Lovely. You're all right. Make sure you're all set to fire at will. Lovely. Bring the archers forward as well to about here-ish. That's fine. All of you forward. Guard mode. Don't skirmish. Got ridiculous amounts of cavalry for this fight. That's fine. You attacked me, by the way. You have to start this fight. And then we've got the dogs and the elephants at the rear that can kind of just go thundering around a bit. Yeah, this could work. Let's just get like a fair bit of this here cavalry ready to just kind of start charging out on the side there. So you just kind of head over there. Ooh, hello. Who's firing it? Ah, flipping cataphract archers. Right. We're going to come under fire from the bloody cataphract archers. Well, that's just good. Right, you guys, can any of you... Okay, the Cretans can hit you. Any chance one of you guys can go and catch... Oh, yes, now they're moving forward. Good. For some reason, they've decided to move forward, and that works for me because they're now going to move into range of all of my archers simultaneously, and everyone's going to shoot them, and it's all going to be lovely. Yep, they're already wavering. Good. So the cataphracts at the front have kind of thrown themselves away. More flipping... Ah, these are just cataphracts. They're just kind of charging in. Heavy cavalry, but just hit them with that. Hit him with that. Let's get some flipping cavalry. Where's that cavalry I had prepared? You know, we've got... Oh, no, you've already broken. Oh, there's more coming in. They're trying to get around the outside. Don't let them. Don't let them. All right, get the auxilia on them. We've got more flipping cataphracts just trying to get around the side over there. Basically, just get all the cavalry around here. Just surround these bastards as best you can. Right. One of you's already broke. Oh, no. No. That was us that broke. Right. Get around this side. Get around the side of them. Cataphracts are tough, but if we can just take out these cataphracts right here, then we're pretty much actually... Don't go forward. Stay here. Stay in the line. You've got flipping phalanxes, don't you? Right, no. Get around the side here. If we just surround the cataphracts, there's a good chance they will actually be willing to break. We just need to get around the back of you. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Faster. Faster with this. Okay, and already wavering. No, you're not going anywhere. You're not flipping going anywhere. Right, finish them off. Finish them off. Finish them off. You, get around the back of them. You, actually, you know what? Let them go and squeeze into here. Let's just surround these guys, and they'll break immediately. Right, and that's those cataphract archers taken care of. Very nice. Let's get out of here for a minute. And now at this point, it's Eastern infantry. Who are still spearmen, so we don't want to mess with them too hard. Right, no. Guys. Walk away from the spearmen. You're still cavalry. Alright, lovely. Front line is doing nicely. We've got no cavalry to flank with right now, which is a concern. We've got these guys. Right, you lot, round here. Just head over into this direction, and you lot over here. Just head over to more like over here. If you can, kind of guard the... Ooh! Uh-oh. Right, guys. There's flipping cataphracts about to hit the Cretans. Stop them. Alright, good. Well done. Right, what's around here? You guys, draw up nice and thin over here. You guys are over there. You guys are ready to go round. Ooh, this is a fun battle. Right, don't let the general get too far ahead. Good old Placus Cyrus. You, get over into here. Get the horses ready. We can just charge inside of them. They are going to be steady. They're going to struggle to stand up properly. These are Eastern infantry. So go on. Charge into them. Charge into them. And they're steady. Wavering. Come on. Break, you bastards. Break. No. Back to shake and back out. Back out. Right. In which case, we need to release the... release the dogs. Yeah, the elephant's moving around here as well. Dogs around there. Lovely. Elephants. You know what, guys? Prepare to just move in. You are going over to, charge forward, and then elephants into the rear. Get some flipping cavalry support over there as well. And then this is, oh dear, get the horses away from all of that. Get the, you know what, fine. Apparently they've broken over there. That's fine, in which case just go around over there. How are the elephants doing? Yeah, the elephants are wrapping things up very nicely. Into the rear over here. Those are heavy spearmen. They're a bit better. Right, everything just into the side here. I know we're charging flipping elephants into heavy spearmen right now, but it's fine. Just get in there. Oh, the poor elephants. The elephants are dying, which is a shame, but we kind of should have approached from the... Maybe back off a little bit and approach from a super... There we go. Over there. Get the horses out of there. Lovely. Scruffy, but it'll flipping do. Good old rock. We like this rock. Nice. Right. Get the elephants round here now. And the dogs, meanwhile, are just eating these Eastern infantry. They're pretty much done, therefore. In which case, all we need to do is now just finish off these last few. Round here, in fact, I think now they're retreating. Good. Job done. Interesting fight. Very interesting fight. That's a really cool one.
This is a heroic victory, worthy of Roman arms!
For once, the narrator man is right. That was actually pretty damn cool. At the age of 16, Julianus Vatinius came of age. Compared to his father, he was admittedly disappointing. Despite his youth, he immediately left Rome, taking with him 3 urban cohorts, 2 first legionary cohorts, 2 principes, some archers, war dogs, and some of the finest cavalry that Rome had to offer. He offered no explanation as to why. Scythia finally got round to declaring war at one point. No one was desperately surprised, to be honest. After an informal retirement, in which he didn't kill anyone for almost an entire decade, Valerius the Killer passed away in Arabia. Oppius Balbus came of age in Siwa. His defining trait was that he despised Carthaginians. He was apparently unaware that the Carthaginians had been eliminated some decades earlier. Breaking from a tradition of ugliness, Marcellus the Handsome was indeed godlike perfection. Despite the fact that he claimed to have godlike perfection, he also interestingly had hair. Julianus Victor would have him assassinated within 2 years. After 4 years of protracted siege, the Numidians finally decided to come out and fight rather than starve to death. Why they thought attacking Dimity in the first place was a good idea was never explained. During the Scythian War, the first major Roman army from the south that arrived on the frontier was in fact actually the army of Julianus Vatinius. Julianus Victor didn't mind this specifically, he just wished his son would have mentioned the fact he was heading in that direction. The Scythians were admittedly not thrilled that a 16-year-old kid of no particular talent or ability had just attacked their capital city. Julianus Vatinius, however, was alright with that. He was overheard saying, "This is going to be freaking awesome." Fortunately, Julianus Vatinius had at least read some books about what his father had achieved, and did therefore manage to set his archers up on top of a hill. Not much of a hill, but you know what? It did the job. And now we've got some fun stuff here. Yes, this is going to be a fun fight. This is good. Yeah, Axemen. Basically, we want to murder these guys before they actually get up to us, because these guys are flipping brutal. We've got all of you. Ooh, you're actually just charging straight in. Well, that's fine. We'll just get ourselves some cavalry round the side. Get the peeler in. Archery in. Oh, yeah, that's right. Scythian horse archers. Not exactly spectacular. You're already fleeing. Good. Head-hunting maidens. That is cavalry with some really nice armor-chopping axes. They've already broken. Let's get around the other side. We've got some Scythian... Ooh, Scythian noble women. Yeah, the Scythians have lots of female troops, which is really cool. We'll just slam into you, and everything else is already broken. Lovely. And that just leaves mainly the force from the town. Assuming it wants to bother. Is it bothering? Yes, it is going to bother. Lovely. Well, you just walk over here, and I'll shoot you down as well.
The enemy general flees. Press forward so the spirit of his army is broken too.
Her army, narrator man. Her army. Right, that's the first force seen off, pretty much, with, yeah, very few in the way of losses. Albeit I've lost the peeler. I've still got plenty of arrows in the quiver, though, and I haven't committed my war dogs yet, which is nice. And now they're coming to me with a really wide line full of flipping axemen. Julianus Vatinius, you may have bitten off more than you can chew here. Right, here they come. Archers still have some good shots here. Ah, this is good. The archers are going to take out the war dog handlers before the war dogs have a chance to be released. This is good, but we also need to be focusing on the axemen a little bit. Though, we can blunt their charge thanks to the fact we've got the dogs. That works nicely. Yeah, there we go. Release the dogs. Lovely. Yep. I think we're under attack from something. I suspect there's chosen archers at the back there. Yep, flipping chosen archers. You guys, stay back. Just let your dogs do the work, please. Thank you. There we are. Those dogs will blunt the charge of the axemen very, very nicely indeed. We've got, yeah, the chosen at the back. And we've just got a ton of flipping horse archers there at the rear as well. But these axemen are kind of like the core solid bit here. If we can just take these guys out, and it looks like they are collapsing. They don't really have a front line anymore. That's good, because that means the horse archers we can outrange with our own guys. We've got... Ooh! You're just there! Go away, please! I kind of missed that there were just some Scythian nobles chilling out right at the side of my line. Can you go away, please? Thank you. Right, Scythian nobles, you're already wavering. Get some horses into the side of you, and they will break immediately. Lovely. Let's just kill a very large number of them. There's archer warbands back there. We can just put some fire on those. No trouble. Those are just basic archers. We can chase them off nice and super easy. The chosen archer warbands, however, that'll be a bit more tricky. Screw you. Just boom, boom, boom. Already wavering. Oh, yes. There we are. We'll just kind of pick off a few of you. Down to... Oh, yeah. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Right. Get the horses back, though. They're right now exposed to too much archer fire from too many different directions. But if you do want to just swing over and hit those guys while you're passing by, why the flip not, eh? Over on this side, we're still under attack. Can you do anything to those flipping horse archers, please? Because they are slowly wearing down my flipping troops. Right, get down the hill. Get after these guys if you can. If we can just clear out some of the horse archers, we'll be in much better shape to, yeah, go after the rest. Problem is, it's really, really bloody difficult to actually track down the flipping, yeah, the actual main missile cavalry. And even if you do, the Scythian missile cavalry is very, very good at standing its flipping ground. But just take out these guys if you can. They're down to 20, 19, 18. Good, that's their leader. We take out the leader. That will do some good work there. Come on. There we go. Leader taken care of. Lovely. Now, with the general dead, hopefully we can clear out these guys on this side as well. Guys, are you going for... War dogs need to not get ahead of everyone else, please. Thank you. Got a couple of units of cavalry around there, just slamming into the chosen. And the chosen will just stand its ground so well. Ah, but not with the leader dead, they won't. Right, after this archer warband next. I think that's my dogs chewing them. Lovely, my dogs are still in play. Beautiful. And... Julianus Vatinius, Well flippin' done, actually. Well flippin' done. Gnaeus even decided to get involved himself a little bit at the end there. Marvellous. Hitting himself into a chosen archer warband, wavering, and as good as broken should be. And thus it was that the Scythians actually suffered their first major defeat against the Romans. Julianus Vatinius, maybe there's hope for you yet. And with that, Julianus Vatinius took the campus Scythia, exterminated literally everyone in it, retrained his troops as best as he could, and then immediately afterwards set off even further north, leaving Vibius Sulpicius to clean up the mess. When asked why, he simply stated something about a secret city. At this point, it was widely assumed he was going mad. With the fellow Roman families defeated, Julianus Victor turned his attention to peace, a Pax Romana that would echo through the centuries. His first objective? Britain, who honestly, he never actually wanted a war with in the first place, he just wanted to annoy the Julii. Peace followed, and not just peace, but an alliance as well. History would record that the genius negotiation of Vibius Sulpicius was instrumental in achieving this alliance. 150,000 gold being transferred to them, because Julianus Victor didn't know what else to do with it, probably helped too. In 204 BC, Dacia just sort of died. I swear it wasn't us that did it. I know we had an assassin nearby at the time, but genuinely, we had nothing to do with it. I'm guessing their faction leader died of old age without an heir, though admittedly, we had assassinated several of his heirs, so maybe it was kind of our fault, yes. Never want to look a gift territory in the mouth, Spurius the Ugly went to capture it. Did I mention that the Scythians were really annoyed at what Julianus Vatinius did? Because they were so flipping annoyed. There was speculation that Julianus Vatinius was attempting to visit the fabled gathering of the diplomats in the swamps of Scythia, but sadly, they had long since dispersed. Julianus Scapula, also known as Julianus the Useless, did indeed have a son, Oppius Scapula. He was maybe not quite as terrible as his father, but he'd have both the traits flaccid and flexible, which was kind of amusing. In the year 202 BC, no one could actually be certain beyond any shadow of a doubt that Britain were about to break the alliance, but in retrospect, it is possible they used some of the 150,000 gold we gave them to train a new army, which they're going to use to attack us momentarily, yes. Unfortunately, Spurius the Ugly was kind of busy at the time. He was dealing with the former Dacian colony over here. However, something wonderful happened to Spurius the Ugly, which is while he was indeed horrendously ugly, his skills in other areas began to more than compensate for that, and he became Spurius Victor. Continuing his journey north for further years, Julianus Vatinius found two rather interesting things. One, he found an area of the world where if he tried to go further north, there was simply a yawning black chasm. He tried to ignore that bit, it was rather confusing. But also interestingly, he found a rebel territory up here. It was called Hyperborea. No one had ever attempted to claim it. It didn't belong to any city that he was aware of on any map he had ever seen. As time went on, it became oddly apparent that the British really wanted to attack us, but couldn't actually muster up the courage to do it, unfortunately, because too many cities had pretty much full stack armies in them. In 200 BC, there was a terrifying earthquake in Carthaginoa. Particularly terrifying because it looked really bloody weird, because Rome Total War wasn't particularly good at doing the earthquake effect, but there we go. While many soldiers died, fortunately, Oppius Victor survived. It took Julianus Vatinius another 2 years of slow trudging across land that had no roads, rivers, forests and swamps, but eventually, he found it. A mysterious settlement at the end of the world, barely even guarded in fact, a single unit inside, and was owned by a faction he had never heard of before, the Amazons. Despite having survived the earthquake, in 199 BC, Oppius Victor died of natural causes in Carthaginoa. During his life, he'd been the faction heir on 3 separate occasions and never actually got to become faction leader. On his death, the faction heir position automatically moved to Numerius Brutus, which was really bloody weird because he was kind of terrible. Instead, after a great deal of thought and personal reflection, Julianus Vatinius realised who the right person to name the new faction heir would be, and that would be taking the example of himself. He decided to entrust the position to a young kid who showed remarkable promise. Over in Alexandria, Appius Tuditanus had been ruling for approximately 5 years, since he came of age at 16. He was 21 now, a superior commander, true Roman, been in the wars, an architect restrained and in the pink. With some experience, he could become a truly great Roman, and Julianus Vatinius liked that, damn it. Realising what he must do, Appius Tuditanus immediately gathered together some horses, some legionaries and some archers, because that's exactly what Julianus Vatinius would have done, and set off to make the flipping Armenians pay for what they'd done. In the north, however, far removed from the politics of Rome, Julianus Vatinius only had eyes on one thing, and that was the strange settlement that he had located. Oddly, it was barely even guarded. 104 men present, or rather, 104 women, in Amazon chariots. Melee attack 13, missile attack 13, defense 4, with some decent experience on it. Legendary warriors from the land beyond the north wind. These cruel and beautiful women are dangerous indeed to all who oppose them in battle. Many warriors misjudge their alluring appearance, a mistake that few ever live long enough to regret. The thundering sound of their chariots is often enough to unman even the strongest enemies. Riding chariots into battle, the Amazon way of warfare relies on using their composite bows to pepper enemies at a distance before closing in to hack enemies to pieces. In either case, they are well protected by the speed of their chariots and by the high quality armour that they wear. At this point, Julianus Vatinius regretted not bringing along some flipping hoplites. The town was also a curious one, Greek in style, but with a warlord's hold. And there they were, the warrior women of the Amazons. Although oddly, and perhaps in a slight design oversight by the Roman Total War team, there is actually one guy present who is actually the leader, because the rebel leader who is not a commander figurine is just the generic one, which is indeed male. But I suppose they did need at least, one guy just to keep the population up a bit. Though the fact there was only one guy might explain why the army size is a little bit on the low side. As promised, the Amazons did indeed use their bows, and we found a rare use for the testudo on this occasion, forming up a nice little defensive testudo to protect us from the arrow fire. That's right, everyone needs your little testudo, very nice. Nicely, even the first cohort can actually form a testudo, which is actually kind of cool because it's a much bigger testudo than normal because there's about 50% more men in it, so it forms a kind of unique bigger testudo, which is pretty cool. And there we go, now we're much better protected against the arrows. The Amazons continue to approach, but now we've got our own archers at the back, who should be coming into range hopefully very, very shortly. Come on guys, one of you just forward just a little bit here. I just need you to get a good shot in to lure them forwards. Yep, there we are, we've got our first shots in at the Amazons here. Lovely, that will hopefully draw them forward. And once we start getting a few of them down, yep, hopefully they will charge. Yep, we've already started killing a few of them. It almost felt like a shame to kill the Amazons, given these were effectively mythical and almost endangered species. What have you? They stood between Julianus Vatinius and his first victory. What was it about Julianus Vatinius and women? History would record that it was a bit worrying. The only two cities he ever attacked were the Scythian capital, that was full of female warriors, and the Amazon capital, where it was nothing but female warriors. Julianus Vatinius just had a bit of an issue with women, apparently. Sadly, chariots being chariots, they're offensively strong but defensively flimsy. This was never going to fly for them. In fact, I would say, let's actually send in my nice... Ooh, look at that. A massive testudo. An extra big-sized testudo because of jail one of these guys. Right, you guys, break out of your testudo. Time for you to just charge forward and finish these guys off, please. In you go. And you can tell that they are a special unit because they've got the little standard on top of their flag, which is very cool. Although, sadly, they've got stuck behind these guys. You know what? Never mind. You guys just kind of keep drawing the fire. These guys will just go around and finish them off. Oh, there's the commander. He's dead now.
All Rome will be amazed at such a victory. The day is ours!
The Amazons, in the end, went down without too much of a fight. Noble warriors, sure, but there was only a flipping 100 of them. That was a mistake when I brought 2,600. And so it was that the Amazon capital fell into Roman hands. It was actually worth taking, by the way, because, yeah, they've got gold mines up here. So you build those gold mines, that's 300 straight away, which is pretty damn cool. But also a massive increase in corruption. Apparently, Julianus Vatinius was just waiting to get his hands on some gold, damn it. And there it was. A tiny bit of green at the very top of the world inside a settlement that, well, if there's one settlement on this entire map that you haven't seen before, it was that one. I like the Amazon settlement hidden at the very top of the world. It's pretty damn cool. Albeit it's a little bit hidden behind the Scythians, who are still slightly annoyed at that war that Julianus Vatinius started, it must be said. Julianus Vatinius decided to stay in the former city of the Amazons, and was never heard from again. News of an Amazon city that had been conquered, and was still technically held in Rome's name, would slowly seep south through gossip and rumours, but Julianus Vatinius was never sure whether to believe it, and to be honest, he was not desperately aggrieved at the loss of his son. Instead, Julianus Vatinius suddenly felt a sensation that he had not felt for some time. A sensation that he was not quite doing all that he could do with his life. The Julii were defeated, the Scipiones gone, the British allies, for the moment at least, though just in case they were going to change their minds, he sent a massive army, including his favourite elephant, up to Julianus the Ugly, who he was quite sure would become as good a warrior as his father had been. And so as Appius Teutotanus set out marching against the Armenians, Julianus Vatinius knew that the Roman Empire was secure. Though it could not be denied, there were rumours. Rumours that Julianus Vatinius had gone a little bit soft sitting in Rome, managing his empire for so many years at this point, while everyone else went off fighting wars against the British, the Armenians, the Scythians. And though he continued to get stronger and stronger, a skilled debater, a draftsman, even a deceiver, which he took as a compliment, as well as a competent trader and a connoisseur, as befits a man in peacetime. There was one accusation he could not shake: financially irregular. When cash flows through this man's hands, some sticks to his fingers. Some said that was the only negative trait that Julianus Victor had, but they didn't know what Julianus Victor knew. Because when the time came, and all of that money he had been quietly squirreling away came to fruition, he made his move. In the middle of the night, without even telling anyone he was going. He marched out to Capua on his own, leaving his entire honour guard behind, even his Cretans. But unfortunately, he couldn't hide from them. They realised he had left and pursued after him. And once he made it to Capua, he got into the rocket that he had been secretly building for the past decade and blasted off into space, leaving only a note explaining in slightly vague terms that he wanted to go and set up Space Rome, whatever that was. It would be a matter of weeks before Appius Teudetanus, who had already won several compelling victories against the Armenians, would learn that he was now the emperor of the greatest empire in the world, and also possibly an Amazon bit at the top, but no one was quite sure whether that bit was real or not. And so it was, with peace, prosperity, and a glorious future in space secured, there ends the story of Julianus Vatinius and Rome Total War. And that indeed, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of Rome Total War for now. Oh, I love Rome Total War. It is one of my favourite games of all time. It's probably my second favourite game of all time. Only Fallout New Vegas is ahead of it. I adore this game. I hope you've enjoyed this experience with me. I've been amazed at the response to it. I've loved all the accounts of the generals and everything down in the comments below. I'm sorry, by the way, if an account you were handling died during the epilogue. I'm really sorry about that. But you know what? Time ticked on, and that is indeed what came to pass. And I'm sure, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that we will be back with Rome Total War in the future. I love the Barbarian Invasion DLC. It's one of my favourite Total War DLCs they've ever made. I think it's absolutely spectacular. I'm not so keen on Alexander, so maybe we won't necessarily look at that. But Total War itself, now that I've completed the main campaign, we had 75 by the end. We had 75 territories. You need 50 in Rome to win the grand campaign. We had 75, including Rome. So we went a little bit above and beyond the Call of Duty there, which is why we sort of editorialised a little bit towards the end. But I can certainly see us going back to the base game as well, because yeah, there's some really fun alternative stuff hidden away in here. I like the Celestia campaign. It's really bloody difficult, the Celestia campaign. So you've got the Pontics and the Armenians and the Egyptians and the Parthians, and they will all dogpile you from literally every direction. So you're constantly being attacked. So it's basically a real trial just to survive. You cannot really focus on expanding. You just have to survive as best you can. So by the time you're in any position, start expanding into Greece. The Greeks and the Macedonians are either already going to be well established, or more likely, the Brutii are already going to be really, really bloody strong in this part of the world, and you'll have to take on those strong Brutii and a strong Julii that you haven't been able to keep an eye on, and a strong Scipiones who've just been kind of getting on with their own thing. You've got a really powerful combined three-part Roman Empire to actually fight. At the same time, you're going to be constantly under attack from every direction. The Celestia campaign is so difficult, but it's so fun. Yeah, they've got really powerful phalanxes. They've got the Cataphract cavalry, which is great fun. They don't have that good archers, which is interesting. They've got basic archers, but they never get long-range archers, which is really good. So it means I can't just do my kind of thing I've been doing here, of kind of just having the lines of strong cavalry and archers behind them. You have to be a bit more interesting. And they get elephants as part of their basic army, which is really, really damn cool. So they get a really interesting, fun selection of troop types. I love the Celestia campaign. Maybe one day we will go and see that. Carthage actually isn't so interesting because it's too easy just to basically destroy the Scipiones really early on, and probably the Brutii too straight afterwards. So after that point, you've already knocked out 2 or 3 Roman factions. It's not too difficult to take Rome. So I don't find Carthage as interesting because, relatively speaking, it's quite peaceful and it's too easy to knock out Rome too early, which is the same deal with Greece, actually. I mean, Egypt's really damn fun too, but Egypt's also pretty easy because, you've basically got a secured southern flank. So basically, at that point, you just pick off the Seleucids. So maybe one day we'll be back with the Seleucids, but let's not worry about that for now. That is a long way in the future. For now, I think we give Rome Total War a brief break, but not necessarily Total War as a franchise. Oh, I think we've got so much more to do there. Because, ladies and gentlemen, time moves on, and so must we. And maybe 1,000 or so years into the future, we ought to check in with how it is exactly Rome and all of these territories we conquered are getting on with. Ladies and gentlemen, beginning next Sunday, I am thrilled to say we will be starting Medieval 2 Total War. Oh, I love Medieval 2. Maybe not quite as much as Rome. It's like, it's very similar to Rome in some ways. It's very different to Rome in some other ways. I think, like, there's so many ways it took Rome as a foundation. It stayed very close to it. And in many ways, it made some really, really good improvements. Like, for my money, Rome is still my preferred game. But, oh, Medieval 2 gives it a run for its money. I have put thousands of hours into Rome. And I've put maybe not quite as many hours into Medieval 2. But it's not too far off. I know this game. I love this game, and I am thrilled to begin a new adventure in it. So, that begins next Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. But in the meantime, I've been John, this has been Many a True Nerd, and thank you all so very, very much for joining me in this wonderful adventure in Rome, Total War. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Haha, I'm a genius at time. Oh, okay, this escalated quickly. I'd like to fly your drone. So good about a butterfly in a bucket. What does that tell you about the human condition? Are we the butterfly and is capitalism the bucket? What happens if you go right to the back in time? The very beginning of time. Oh, you literally just burn the universe.